everyone, my name is Sive and this is Stories in Sive, and today's video is going to be a January TBR. I'm starting modest this month because towards the end of last year, as I was structuring TBRs for myself, I was not sticking to them at all. So I'm only going to talk about 5 books today. I read around 8 or 9 a month, so talking about 5 books and then giving myself, as a mood reader, a little bit of leeway to pick what I want in the moment. First, we're starting off with a poetry collection called Hurricane Dancers by an author, Margarita Engle, and she is a Cuban-American poet. This is a story about a man who is basically being traded from ship to ship, and he's a helping hand. I believe there is a relationship that struck up between him and a captain, and they go on this mad adventure together. I wanted to kind of like find something that had to do with pirates. Like when I was at the library, I was just really in the mood for pirates. I don't think this book is about pirates, but basically a hurricane sinks the ship that he's on, and then he's kind of living as a remote islander and befriends some of the people in the island that he washes up on. So it sounded like a really cool adventure story told in the form of poetry, and I'm very excited to try this out. The next book I want to read in January is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. I picked this one to read this month because of the Buzzword Readathon, which is hosted by Books and Lala, and the first prompt in January is the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why, how, and She Who Became the Sun has been on my TBR for quite a while. It is a fantasy story. It's the first in a new series that came out this past year. This is set in China in the 1300s when Mongolians ruled over China, and we follow our young protagonist. She is a younger sister of many, many brothers, and there is prophecies that are proclaimed and destinies proclaimed over children when they're born. She gets one of nothingness, and her brother gets one of greatness. Unfortunately, her brother ends up passing away and she steals his destiny. She is said to be a clever and capable main character, and I'm so looking forward to following her on this adventure. It's said to be pretty intense, epic story with a lot of survival. This is blurbed on the back by my favorite fantasy author, which is S.A. Chakraborty. And she says that this story is evocative and heartbreaking. Parker Chan's debut is a poetic masterpiece about war, love, and identity. It stabbed me through the heart and salted it and set the wound on fire. So clearly this is about to break my heart, but in the best way possible. I am so excited to go on this journey with Zhu, who is the name of our main character. The next book I'm going to read is a familiar friend. I am rereading The City of Brass, which is the first book in the Daevabad trilogy. If you do not know already, this is my favorite fantasy series. I can officially say that because I have finished the final one. I'm rereading this book for the 3rd time in the month of January for a read-along, which is hosted by a friend over on Instagram. I will link her Instagram post down below if you are interested. The reason why this read-along is going on is because at the beginning of March, another collection of stories from Daevabad is being released in audiobook format by S.A. Chakraborty, and we are all going to reread the whole trilogy in anticipation for that. This is a story of love and grief and loss and war. It is an epic fantasy story following Nahi, who is a young girl from Cairo who accidentally summons a djinn and is whisked off to the land of Daevabad, only for her to discover that she is actually the descendant of a very long and ancient line of healers who used to be around and were thought to be extinct. Because of this, she's automatically placed in a position of power, and she is having to navigate some politics that she has no experience in navigating. She's literally a thief from Cairo. This story is witty and layered, and there are many tribes that live in Daevabad, and they are navigating a really brutal history with each other of wars and peace and broken alliances and betrayals, and she is coming into this with absolutely like no grasp on what's going on. I love this series with my whole heart, and I am so excited to reread it. I know that it's going to be a great way to start off the year. The next book on my TBR is White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson, which is a YA thriller story set in a haunted house style, but it's not horror, it is in fact thriller, and we deal with a main character who has some mental health issues and struggles struggles with fixations and OCD tendencies. Tiffany D. Jackson is a very talented author and one that I always look out for. This is a 2021 release and I've been excited to read it for quite a while. I've actually had this book in my possession since mid-September and it's crazy that I haven't read it yet. And in spite of some mixed reviews that have come out about this book, I still have very high hopes. This book is definitely giving me is she crazy or is she being haunted vibes, which I absolutely love in thrillers and mysteries, but I have never really encountered, at least to my memory right now, that in a YA. I'm excited to see the approach that Tiffany D. Jackson takes on this novel, and despite the back and forth and positives and negatives reviews that I have seen come out about this book, I still have very high hopes. And the last book I'm going to talk about is the Physick book of Deliverance, Dane. I definitely want to read this in January. We are still in the colder, not in South Carolina, but in concept, the colder and spookier and cozier months, and that is definitely this book. It is a historical fiction which follows two timelines. One woman who is in a more modern and contemporary timeline of 1991, and she is diving into her ancestry and finds out that she actually has quite a close tie to the city of Salem. The second timeline we follow is another young woman in 1681 in the town of Salem, and she is obviously struggling with a lot of the prejudices there. There is a secret that has been woven, and these two women are obviously connected, and this book is apparently kind of spooky, kind of creepy, but ultimately unfolds a beautiful tale that spans the generations of these two women's lives. So that is it, you guys. A super quick and really approachable TBR for me for January. I'm so excited for all of these books and cannot wait to kick off another amazing year of reading. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy other bookish content like this, feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you, and have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.